Hello everybody, I'm 700 miles from home at Cobbler Union in Atlanta, Georgia. We're gonna find out if a person with wide feet can fit Cobbler Union shoes, okay? So let's go.
Hello everybody, it's Robert Powers.
4.5 out of 5.
My shoe collection.
These are made of shell cord.
Here they are finished up.
I'm not a professional. Look how tight this is though. Very clearly here, I just cut the thread in half. And here they are, all finished up. Hello everybody, it's Bob Powers. Today I'm really excited. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia for business. I made sure to arrange a trip here to Cobbler Union. Now we're going to tell you who Cobbler Union is if you're not already familiar with the brand. They have, correct me if I'm wrong, one U.S. outlet, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm here with Peter. And Peter, you are one of the store managers here, correct? In the Atlanta store.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we just have the one showroom here. We're really based out of Atlanta, and then we have a little office in Madrid too. But altogether, it's going to be about 12 to 14 employees total, so we're still a really tight-knit group. We really specialize in Goodyear welted shoes, and kind of what sets us apart is that we're bringing a made in Spain, a European craftsmanship to an American market. And so we sell direct to consumer, and we kind of hit a sweet spot that a lot of people are comfortable with Goodyear welted shoes, about that $14 range, like you'll see with Allen Edmonds.
Right.
But we're able to do a small batch, we're able to pull from some of the best tanneries in Europe. And I think it brings something unique that not a lot of people get to see here. And
I don't think that's just lip service. You say something on the website about bespoke level shoemaking. How does that line go?
It's bespoke inspired is kind of the idea, and our founders came from the bespoke shoemaking tradition. So they tried to keep some of those elements into the ready to wear line. So I have stuff like, you can see having closed channel stitching, which is something that you don't see on too many. I mean, you see them on much more high-end shoes,
right?
Where the stitching that comes through the welt here is hidden through an extra piece of leather that's lifted up and then sealed back over.
And let me compare that to my Allen Edmonds. Now, they don't normally come with a rubber protective half sole, but I live in Northeast Ohio. Compared to the open channel stitching, you can see the difference, obviously. Imagine this going all the way around.
Yeah,
right?
And then another thing is a fiddleback waist, so it's kind of, I'll say, an elegant flourish that adds a little shape to the sole. And
compared to the flat. And also look at the width, the narrowness of that waist.
Yeah, there's a little elasting that they can kind of pull on tighter shapes here. Sometimes the heel can be a little tighter. This one just specifically has called 180 welt. So the stitching comes 180 degrees around the shoe and allows you to get a much more tighter shape through the carriage.
I mean, you're talking the waist of the shoe is underneath the arch. I mean, that's amazing. And a beautiful shoe is reminiscent of hopefully this doesn't sound bad to anybody, it's reminiscent of a woman's body. And when you see, like, from about this angle, you see it just drops straight. And Kirby Allison does a great test with a pencil. You see how that reaches under and it just gives it that bulbous, beautiful shape. Yeah. It's gorgeous, it's gorgeous. The heel as well. The Allen Edmonds are 360-degree Goodyear welted, but I've never seen a heel come off shoe.
Yeah, that's kind of the aesthetic. So we do have some that do have a 360 welt on them. And it is for an aesthetic. You'll see some people like Alden likes to have a wider width on and a wider welt. And some of ours too, the more rugged, kind of more casual styles do have a wider welt on them too for the aesthetic.
Okay.
But yeah, elegant shape. It looks really nice to have the 180, the super tight heel, and the really tight waist too.
One other thing I'll point out here is if you see the stitch density, the number of stitches per inch, and on their normal line of Allen Edmonds, they do not have what's called, I believe it's called fudging. Does this one have fudging? This one doesn't.
This one does.
This one does. Look at that stitch density, the number of stitches per inch I get in the light. And then that fudging, the little indentation.
Yeah, the fudging is a little texture on the edge of the welt,
which has a little bit of class.
Yeah, I really like the fudging.
Yeah. So I guess my main concern though is these are my shoes. If you can see the size there. Triple E, Allen Edmonds 65 last, 11.5 Triple E, fits me like a glove. I've got 5 shoes in this last from Allen Edmonds. After the second or third one, I quit trying them on. I just ordered them, buy them at that size, and they fit great. These unfortunately don't come in a wide width, correct?
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so we're gonna see if I can fit a pair, hopefully.
Yeah, so we don't have wide widths right now, but we have several different lasts and some. We're definitely training ones that fit wider and trying to give people more room. So yeah, we'll try some out and see what can work out for you.
Awesome, let's go. So this is Goodyear welted, right? So what we have here, if you could hold that for me. What you have here, you have obviously the upper, and I have a whole other video on this. You have the insole, other side of this your foot touches, gemming. This cloth piece with the rib on it is called the gemming. This piece right here. This is the welt. So Goodyear welted, this is 3/4 of the way around the shoe. So this would be 270-degree Goodyear welted. This welt is stitched through here. You see those black loops? The welt is stitched to the insole via the gemming. Then you have a cavity here, a nice little convenient cavity that gets filled traditionally by cork. Cork compresses over time. The insole will, bend, I guess, mold to the shape of your foot, and it does also provide insulation. Now the outsole is stitched, you can see right there that white stitch. The outsole is stitched through these stitches to the welt. So the outsole is stitched to the welt is then stitched to the gemming. So what that means is when the sole wears out, the outsole can be removed by cutting off the stitches holding the outsole to the welt. And this is called Goodyear welted shoe, and it's, traditionally regarded as the best method of shoe construction. And then you have to nail the heel, right? Because there's no welting at the back. But Goodyear welting, I guess main downside is it makes the sole a little bit thicker. So some of the European makers don't like it, and they'd rather just stitch the shoe directly to the upper to get a little bit thinner, but I'm not concerned with being that close to the ground. I'd rather have the padding and wearability. So this is Liam. Liam, you're an operations manager, is that correct?
That's correct, yeah.
Pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, I can't tell you how excited I am to be here. We were talking about a few things, and then we were like, wait a minute, stop. We need to capture this information. From my perspective, especially having non-standard width feet, fitting in a business where you have one location in Atlanta, you can't really pop in. That's, I think, the biggest hurdle, right? So would you mind talking a little more about, if I can't come to Atlanta, how do I buy you? How do I know how to fit your shoes? I think that's the biggest burning question.
Yeah, I mean, we have a helpful sizing guide online that really kind of interprets the widths and the different sizes and how they fit, how they run. But at the end of the day, it's kind of a trial and error thing, and that's why we offer free exchanges and returns. We try to make it as easy as possible. Here in the showroom, we have a full run of fitting pairs that we use to get you into our lasts, right? So rather than using like a Brannock or something like that.
Now you said two things there. I think a novice is going to go over their head.
Sure.
Last and Brannock.
Yeah.
Could you explain a last real quick and what the Brannock is? I know, but
yeah. So this is Peter knows more about this than I do.
So the last is just a hard mold. It's either usually plastic or wood that they use to shape the shoes.
it's actually built on something like this.
Yeah, and so this really defines the fit of a pair because it's going to determine how high the instep is, what the width is at the ball of the foot, how long it comes out. So the last is really just the shape of the shoe, and it determines how it fits.
And for example, like I would say this one's fairly angular, and it's got kind of, I think you call this, this is a chisel point, right? Chisel toe, not a bike toe. A little wider would be bike toe.
You could say like a soft square toe, and then usually there's a little bit of a shape on the nose on some too. You'll see where it kind of chisels down here as well.
So that's a last. What is a Brannock device?
So Brannock, and we have the Brannock to make people feel comfortable, but at the end of the day, we like to put people in our shoes to see if they fit our shoes, right? But this basically, you put your right heel in here, you stand up.
Can we do it?
Yeah, please.
Okay. I think I know my Brannock size.
Yeah.
This is my opinion. I think the vast majority of men who have never bought a nice shoe don't know their real Brannock size. I meet so many people who thought they're like a 10 standard and they're really a 9 wide.
Yeah.
So step one, right foot first, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And your heel cup goes against the back, of course. And you should have your weight equal on both legs, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Not sitting down, not on one leg.
Yeah.
It is important to stand up so your foot flexes out like it does when you're wearing a shoe too.
And so what we see here is Bob is about 11 and a half here.
And now you got to move that thing into the center of the ball, right?
Right, move the guide right here.
How tight should my foot be against it? Just barely touching?
I would just say like a normal weight distribution. And it says here 11 and a half. Yeah, so around the 2E
Yeah,
mark.
that's what I figured, 11 and a half. And I know my right foot is wider than my left. Every time I have a width problem on a shoe, it's 99% of the time right there on the right foot, never the left. So if we do the left, and I think this one's going to come out a little longer and a little narrower.
So
Again, weight equal.
this one up.
Ball at the ball.
Went through this, this knuckle right here. And then again, I see about 11 and a half up here.
It's a little shorter, right?
Yeah. Oh, I didn't think, I would say maybe a touch shorter. What do you say, Liam?
It's pretty close. I mean, I would say I would say it's pretty close.
Yeah.
Is your heel all the way back against the?
11.5, and then you're at the about an E to the 2E. To the 2E range.
Touch heel.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's fairly similar. The nose, I wouldn't think in terms of fitting shoes it would
Right.
be a massive difference.
One thing we didn't talk about too is the arch length that comes through here.
The arch length. Okay.
So arch length has you at about 12.5. The arch length is generally from your heel to the ball of your foot.
Right.
And so it's another measurement that you see most people just take the length, but this kind of determines how long your arch is.
I don't believe, correct me if I'm wrong, where your toe lands is really not very relevant because every shoe is longer than your toe.
Yeah.
So the ball length, isn't that more critical? So in other words, I think what that tells me is I have a relatively longer foot from here to here. Test my balance than from here to here, right?
Yeah.
So-
no, I agree. And then there's kind of a size mistake people make, especially with Goodyear welted shoes, is they want to feel where their toes at the end of the shoe, like you would do for a sneaker, but it's almost irrelevant data at that point.
Okay.
Because as long as you feel like the aesthetic looks all right, you feel comfortable in the shoe, and then there's better places we can check for the fit, that the length isn't going to matter. as much.
Right. Because if the ball of the foot, the shoe is too far forward or back, then that's really going to affect how it actually feels and flexes and how the vamp creases, right?
Yeah.
So we want to fit the.
Yeah.
So I think that's a more critical measurement.
Yeah.
Great. Okay.
And then, I'll say too, the Brannock, I mean, it's just in that it's a tool, but it's not gospel.
And this is what surprised me is when you guys told me that, I thought for sure Brannock size. And you're like, no, we don't really go off the Brannock. I was like, wait a minute, then how do you get people a shoe if they're not here?
Yeah, I'll say it's helpful. The thing it just gives you these two measurements. It can give you a length, and then it can give you that width, and the width isn't standardized between brands. So a 2E somewhere isn't going to be a 2E somewhere else. You said earlier, it's like a medium shirt here and a medium shirt there. So what we found has been more helpful is always hearing about people wearing other brands. So if I hear what someone's wearing an Allen Edmonds in the 65 last or their Oxfords, I get a much better idea of what they would take in our shoes.
So 65 last. So Allen Edmonds, the 65 last is their most common last. The Strand, Park Avenue, the Park Avenue is a cap toe Oxford. The Fifth Avenue, I've got a pair of Shreveports on the 65 last. It's very, very popular. So
It's the last we hear about the most coming from Goodyear welted shoes.
So I know how that, for me, 11.5 Triple E on the 65 last. I've got 5 pairs of that size. I can order them without trying them on. They fit like a glove every time. And it closes like about like that. I get a nice tight V on the Oxford because you don't ideally, right, don't want a wide V if possible. And it fits very well all over, but isn't the 65 last narrower?
Yeah, I think the 65 is a touch narrower than most athletics that are a D width.
Right.
It's a touch narrower and a touch longer.
Yes.
And so it gives people a different fit, and I feel like people specialize just for Allen Edmonds. They pick different widths and they kind of get an idea of what their size is, but there's a lot more variation than you expect between other lasts too.
For example, the 97 last, like the McNeil, I need a 12 double E because on the 11.5 Triple E, the front of the shoe, it hits the front of my pinky toe. So I need that extra length.
Yeah, makes sense.
So we're about to find out, this is a moment of truth, what fits my feet, but also I'd like you guys to make sure to talk about, if I'm ordering them via mail, I'm not here. I can buy 2 pairs of shoes knowing I will return one, right?
Yeah.
So would you also talk about what are the golden rules I have to follow if I'm going to return a shoe? Because I can't walk around with pavement in it and flex it, right? Okay, so what are the 3 rules for purchasing a shoe if it needs to be returned?
Yeah, so we ask people to use the shoe horn when putting it on so as to not affect the heel of the shoe.
Right.
We ask people to try it on carpet just to protect the soles. A lot of them are leather soles.
Carpet.
And then also to not grease the toe too much. So to try to not try
I want to really limit that, right? I mean, if you can show on your foot, like
so you don't want to do too much of this.
I would, if it were me, I wouldn't try to bend the shoe at all.
Yeah, well, you're a good one.
Just walk around, pick your feet up. And,
Yeah, you want to see how your foot's going to sit in it, but yeah, you don't want to flex the toe or it's a worn shoe at that point.
Right. Okay, great. And if you don't have a shoehorn, by the way, here's a tip. You can use not like a credit card, but like a store discount card. Plastic, the shape of credit card, you can use that too if you don't actually have a shoe. Yeah. Okay, I got that from Curdy Allison, I think, by the way. Credit where credit is due. All right, this is a pump in the moment, right? I see some shoe boxes over there. Okay. for? I've got, I think, 25, I think, pairs of shoes. I love Oxfords. Justin Fitzpatrick once said that the Derby is the Oxford's ugly cousin. I have some Derbies, but I love Oxfords. I don't have any Adelaides. I'm looking for either Oxford or Monkstrap, not in black. I love the tan brown. I live in the Midwest. People are so dressed like this, even to a business event. Half the time I'm the most dressed up person. We have people literally come to networking events in shorts and t-shirts, literally. So this is not Wall Street. This is not like where my photographer here, Alex, lived in near Washington D.C., wasn't it, or in New York? Manhattan. Sorry, yeah. So it's not those kind of rules. So what do we have here?
Well, yeah. I do have Adelaide that we can start with.
And what size are you targeting with me?
I want to start to more an 11.5 on the Triple E on the Allen Edmonds. I'm going to start with the 12 on this one.
12? Okay, this is 12D, right?
This is 12D, and this is going to be on our last called the 358.
358.
Okay, the 358 is one of our newer last, and the kind of defining thing is that it's one of our widest ones at the ball right now, but it still has an elegant Oxford shape to it.
Okay.
So you can see that it has more width here, and we just put this one out, and it's got a modification of an older last, the 888. But all we modified is just adding 2 more millimeters of width right here.
Ooh, 2 millimeters. Okay, so 2 millimeters in inches is almost an 1/8 inch, right?
Almost 1/8 of an inch, yeah.
That's significant.
It is significant. Like every millimeter matters whenever you're putting on a shoe. That's why changing your sock makes such a big difference.
So thinner socks would make it, right?
Yeah.
So you always want to wear dress socks when trying on dress shoes, but there are even thinner dress socks, right?
There are some that are going to be even thinner. Yeah, I would say just don't wear an athletic sock.
Athletic sock, right?
People do, and then it changes the fit completely.
And this is an Adelaide, by the way. Here, I'll show you. This is a great opportunity. This is standard Oxford. You see this U shape cut in the throat? That makes it an Adelaide. Okay. This is not an Adelaide. Look at that quilting on the. Oh, that's awesome.
It's really pretty.
Yeah.
It's inspired by luxury vehicles. Now I say hi to a Honda.
Makes sense. Like that Lamborghini Huracan has that. Yeah.
Hexagon pen. Yeah, we'll check it out, see if it's like. Like I said, this is one that.
I've been waiting literally 3 years for this moment. I mean, my wife would murder me if she saw $800 on the credit card and 2 pairs of, even if we were going to return one. Ooh. I don't know if it's going to be this or the 12.5, but I'm walking out with a pair of these today. I can tell you from this. This is my wide foot, so if we fit this, this isn't bad.
I think these have been a good fit for a lot of people, especially with the wider part, the ball of the foot, because that's what we're kind of targeting more. Right. It also gives it a little more aesthetic to have a little more shape.
It's going to be the 12. Because I can feel, this is another tip I'll give you. A shoe that's too tight will not start hurting you until a couple hours later. So I can already feel like, can you feel, I'll let you feel like,
yeah.
You can't push that in because my little toe is touching. Mm-hmm. The ball width is actually pretty good, but I think this is gonna hurt a little bit after a while.
Mm-hmm. So you see yourself taking the size up on this one?
Yes.
Yeah, the 3 areas we're always checking for the fit. I always start with the ball of the foot.
This ball width is snug. If it weren't for that toe touching, I could probably live with it.
But yeah, it tapers.
And I'll be honest with you, there's different shoes for different uses. Mm-hmm. One of your guys' shoes, I don't see myself wearing on a day where I'm going to walk 10,000 steps. I just don't want to wear this beauty out as much. I would look at this as like the weekend, like your Ferrari you take out to the car show and, you know what I mean? Not garage it, you're going to use it, but it's not something you wear to, as a workhorse, if that makes sense. But I don't even know if I need to try the left shoe on because my right foot is always the wider one. Yeah, okay.
No, we're always checking, like I said, the ball, the stamp area. Like I said, you're closing up well here. And then the heel too.
Right, so that might be a problem when we go up though, is that might get too loose in the heel, right? And you see there, I didn't flex it, you don't need to.
It looks perfect. Thank you so much.
I mean, we want our shoes to fit like a firm handshake.
Yep.
We want it to be snug, but not toes crossing over, not any pain.
Right.
But you want to grow into the shoe and not grow out.
I can feel it just was putting some pressure right there.
I think if you have any discomfort, the advice is always not to force it.
Yeah.
Yes.
You see people try to force it and...
Is that a 12.5?
This is the 12.5.
This is that one? Oh, yeah.
So that's a triple, that's an 888 last, where this was a 358.
Yeah.
The 358, though, you said is 2 millimeters wider.
They're ostensibly the same last. There's that small difference.
But let me see on this one. I'll say that for the, it's funny public, but for the 358, I don't think they have a 12 and a half right now. Because one last we just put out, when we just put out a new last, typically we go from an 8 to a 12.
Okay.
And then on our next run in, we do a half
Gotcha.
size more, as long as it's only enough felt good, we just
Okay.
make it 13. So we could find something that's really close to the half size up, like try it on it, and then we could get one order.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So theoretically speaking, a 12.5D versus a 12D should be wider a little bit,
A little bit wider.
as well as moving the ball length forward a little bit.
And it's that thing, it's a game of millimeters, really. Like maybe
Yep.
1 to 2 millimeters long or 1 to 2 millimeters.
Which is all I need. That's
Yeah.
all I need. You know.
We'll get an idea for this next one too. No, I mean, I think you have a wider foot for sure, but it's really just because your forefoot stays wider.
Okay.
And like, I mean, this may be a little bit wider too, but it's not like you told me before online that your instep and the right here is pretty standard. I mean, it's pretty.
So that's another good tip. This is the instep, whereas you kind of will know you have a high instep if you can't close shoes that are the correct width.
Yeah, and some people feel a lot of pressure on the top of their feet because they have a high instep, but they have a shoe with a lower or standard instep when they need that extra space on top of the shoe.
Okay.
And so,
This is the arch.
Yeah.
I have standard arches, right?
yeah, standard arch.
Not collapsed.
But yeah, for your foot, I think he has a wider forefoot, but
4 foot meaning ahead of the ball.
Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe something that tapers in too hard, you can start feeling
That's
it more.
exactly what my problem always is. And all the high-end, especially European shoes, they want to point. Like, I want an almond shoe. I don't want to point.
Do you like the rounded shape?
Yes. Yes.
That's nice.
The one thing I don't like about the 2 pointy ones is I think they make my feet look longer, and they're already long. I'm already gangly.
Oh,
It makes me self-conscious.
you're a tall guy though, you can pull it off.
Peter is a tall guy.
That's because, yeah.
No, but yeah, we'll see what this one's like. This is gonna be
And which,
on
the last one, was that the Adelaide?
Yeah.
The name of the shoe? And this is also the Adelaide?
This is an Adelaide too, yeah, this is the same one.
So you have the Adelaide on the 358 and Adelaide on the
888.
888.
Not much longer on that.
And so we're going to be putting them all out on the 358.
Gotcha.
Okay. But we'll see what this one fits like.
Ooh.
So this one's got a lot of space on this one.
The challenge might be we might have too much space in the band now.
Yeah.
I think you're
But a
right.
tongue pad could take care of that, right? Oh, yeah. I have shoes with tongue pads in it. A tongue pad is just a foam pad that's kind of shaped like, not a rectangle, but like kind of like that shape. It's sticky. You get them at Rite Aid, CVS,
Yeah, I
Walmart.
mean, if you wanted to walk out with one here today, I'd recommend the pad. If you wanted to wait for an order, I do think you're that 12.5
Yeah.
medium deep.
On the 358.
Yeah, on the 3.
Yeah, that's what I feel like. A 12.5D and a 358.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Because then you can stand up on this one too. And like I said, the things you're checking again, the ball of the foot. Like I said, you do have more relief here. I don't know how you
Right
feel
there,
right there.
where you're touching is the front of my toe, where there's a little bit of contact, but
How do you feel? Is this something that you'd be comfortable with, or do you think
the width,
there's a little bit of a squeeze there?
it has enough width. I think the 12.5 and the 358 would be
Yeah,
I feel like
I
that
agree.
one too. Like I said, other things we're checking. Like I said,
This is what really blows me away is if you can zoom in, Alex, like there is, you see here, I'm pushing down and then I can indent. It has enough room in the ball. So, but like I said, I think I just think 358. Do you have anything in the 358 in a 12.5?
we don't right
No? Okay.
now.
I'm
Like,
pretty
we just
sure
got it
that's-
out last month. I was trying to grab one in 40K, but yeah, I didn't have one right now.
Okay. And if you don't mind. 12.5, 888 is what we have here. And I'm going to line up, not the back of the heel, but the back of the heel cup is what I'm trying to line up. Flip this around. What's the back? I mean, I'm all eyeballing it here. And then if we look at that, they're almost the same ball width. That's amazing. You can see though the 65 last is more,
Stays a little round.
stays rounder longer, where this is more angular. And then that's the 12 and the 358.
And then, oh, it's so hard to tell, but there's just a little more shape, a little touch more width.
It is. Look at that. If I line that up and that. So even though this shoe is smaller, it's about as wide. Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
But we'll try out another one too, another glass.
Okay.
It's the
Okay. And what is this model called?
this is called the Alex. The Alex UR. Yeah, and this is our long wing derby.
I see that, yeah.
You can check one out. We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
But this one, the last that this is on is that 312 last. The 312 is one of our rounder last. So it stays rounder for longer, but it still has a little bit of a length on it too, so you can kind of dress it up. We put this on a few of our maybe more casual derbies, but then we also do it on a handful of, not handful, but the majority of our boots too.
Okay, I'll tell you what I really like about this. So this has the double oak sole. So it's got a Welt, a midsole, looks like a leather midsole, with a Dainite, or Vibram outsole. So you've got a little extra height here for like Northeast Ohio where we get snows, and it's a little wider, so it's good for, you know, I don't know if you have to walk on grass or, you know, snow, stuff like that. And then having a Vibram sole just makes sense. You know, to me, this is like your crossover SUV with tires that can go off-road a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, and then I love this. But you get the leather stack and then the rubber leather. Oh, that's just gorgeous.
This one also has the storm welt on it too. You were talking about something with a little more protection, so it gives a little more kind of waterproofing qualities on there too, so something can't seep in between the welt and the leather and the upper.
Do you have any Oxfords or Adelaide Oxfords?
We have an Oxford on this. It's one that you mentioned online, the Winston UR. The Winston UR is you got the mustard Winston? You look at that museum brown one, but it's like kind of an Oxford version of a full weight on this.
Okay.
And I got a mustard one up there. I don't know if we have the museum brown over there, but you can bring it out.
And I'm sorry, one more time. What is this last?
312.
312. Okay.
See, like this one stays rounder. I don't know if it has the same width as the ball of the foot.
This one, I think, has, what size is this?
What size is this one, Liam?
That's a
Where are
12 US, but it'll fit like a 12 and a half.
12 US. Okay. This one has more room around the pinky toe than the.
As I said, it'll fit like a 12 and a half, but it is.
Yeah, I'll say comparatively, this one it stays rounder for longer compared to the Adelaide.
This fits great.
I knew that'd be your size just by the way you
Really?
fit the 358. Yeah.
Dude, you guys really know I'm impressed. You know not only yours, but the other brands and how to cross. That's impressive. That's really impressive.
You're about the same stuff a lot. But like I said, then I'll show you the version of this that's an Oxford one too. Yeah, and you kind of see, like you're saying, how this one does just tighten up a little more.
Yeah.
here's
And you
your
see that,
Oxford
like how
one.
tight the vamp is.
Yeah.
So obviously this is a smaller pair, but
Generally speaking, on a derby, you don't really care how tight the vamp is. That's just on an Oxford because you get an ugly wide V.
Yeah, you get more freedom to kind of play with
Yeah, you get more adjustment
the
on
vamp
the
on
derby.
here.
Ooh,
yeah, but it has the same storm weld, the same Goodyear weld. Has a
that's kind of
the
cool.
fleur-de-lis with the.
You know, now this is kind of interesting because you have you have a wingtip Oxford, which says more formal, and then you have a double oak sole, which says less formal. This is kind of cool to me. This is,
Play a little range,
yeah, you know, this is like putting big tires on I don't know what it is
Yeah.
like. You know, see, like I don't need to bend, you know, I can just, yeah, this fits really well.
Yes.
Absolutely, this fits really well.
That's a great pair, especially if you.
I've room all the way around. Here, if you
Nice,
can
yeah.
zoom in on my right foot, you know, you can see the indentation right there. It comes close, but it's got room. This fits well.
Yeah, I mean,
This is perfect.
this pair is designed to, walk on the streets. That's why they call it the Alex Urban. It's got urban design sensibilities plus the formal long wing sensibilities. So the Vibram sole plus the grain leather, it kind of adds a lot of versatility, and we're all about versatility.
Right. Question though. There's a little more, just for anybody who's curious, there's a little more room above my vamp. I think that's something I just have to live with. If I want to get rid of that, that's why you have the spoke.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So the downside is you don't get the, the beauty of that leather sole with the, fiddleback.
The fiddle, yeah. Right now we're doing that on two of the last, the City and the Louvre last, for the ones that we put the fiddleback on. And I think it's showing up.
Okay. 312.
We're interested in Muskrat, right, Bob?
Yeah. That does not come with, that style does not come with a leather sole though?
We have a 888 one that's like has a leather sole. We might have a couple of pairs left.
Okay.
Yeah.
But not in the 312.
Not in the 312. The 312 because it has them all rounded. Typically things that are kind of round or the kind of more casual leathers like the suedes and put on rubber soles because it's
Gotcha.
landed to the casual.
And this is where you want to have a phone conversation with these guys. And you can even do like virtual fittings via Zoom, right? Or whatever, web conferencing.
You've done one before, right?
Yep, I did one, yep.
You know, I was on the side. You were part of my training.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we'll check out the Louvre last.
Yeah, this is the way you fit into the 312 and the 358 last. I think in the Louvre last, you'll most likely be a 12 and a half.
Louvre, Louvre, right?
Yeah, like the
French.
Like the Louvre, yeah.
French pyramid. Yeah. Or as our friends online say, the Louvre.
Ooh, here we go.
Yeah.
So I'll show you. We'll get the right one, see how the lighter foot.
And this is a good looking pair.
No, this one is nice. The Louvre is one of the most elegant ones we have. It's probably one of the most elongated. And we do it in a lot more of the formal shapes, the kind of this monk strap, but also our whole cut Oxford. And this one does have the fiddleback waist on it too.
Yeah.
With the full leather sole. This is one where it's really pretty generous at the ball of the foot. And it's generous here because it tapers in so much.
And that worries me here.
Yeah, I know. So
Anytime I see a straight line right there, that worries me.
So we'll see how this one fits, but I know because we do a generous ball of the foot, it's gonna be a 12 and a half, so it fits pretty consistently with how we did with the 312 last. But we'll see what you think. You're gonna know right away whether it's gonna work.
Okay.
So we'll see.
Generally speaking, by the way, once you get a monk strap or double monk strap to where it fits, I see these do have elastic on them, right? Do you have to unbuckle them once you get it buckled to your...
I don't, but I think a lot of people do.
Okay.
When you like to slip in, like to slip on?
Yeah, I usually just use a short.
I think you use a short. I unbuckle mine personally.
Really? Oh, yeah. I mean, I think it's a matter of preference. But
I'll say that a lot of people don't know that this one you don't touch at all. This is basically aesthetic. So
Gotcha.
Yeah.
don't worry about
It does have adjustment though, right? I mean, for like the first
a little
time.
adjustment. You can maybe pull a little tighter, but generally it's like a loafer under here at that point. So.
Got it.
Or like an Oxford, so it's already kind of the fit's
Got it.
almost determined here. But yeah, we'll see what you think.
Yeah, it's this. No, I can tell you right now, no way.
Yeah.
No way. And what size is this?
And this is a 12 and a half.
This is 12 and a half, and one more time, the last is a Louvre.
Louvre, yeah.
Yeah, this is, I can feel that toe pushing right up against it. Yeah, there's no way.
We do have the 13 as well, but
Let me tell. I'll say that one thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be putting some of these.
No, it's really not that much longer. I mean, it's pointier, but not really much longer.
Yeah, you maybe have like.
It appears longer if I line up the heels.
Having the more tapered shape kind of like gives you that more elevation.
Yeah, that pointy, I think it just,
Uh-huh.
I mean, we could try 13. I mean, you have a 13 handy?
we did.
All right, I might as well try it. We're here.
We're going to be changing the.
It's hard for me to get to Atlanta, so.
All you need is good to try.
Yeah.
We're going to be putting some of these ones, like I said, the whole cut Oxford, and then this one too, on a wider shape. This is called the 357.
Okay.
And the 357 is one that it's almost identical to the 358, but it has a little bit of a harder, or like a more, say, chiseled shape on the toe.
Okay.
So I'll show you what one of those looks like, but that's going to be great for guys like you.
Right,
It's going to give
right.
us to a like elegant shape and elegant look, but it's going to have a little space there.
So it's the same thing, half size up, right?
Correct.
And once again, Louvre flags. Ooh. It gives me the room on the toe, but now I think there's just going to be too much space everywhere else.
Yeah, I'm kind of feeling too, but
Yeah, because I mean, I can feel space around here. I feel space here. I think, and that's also going to make it wrinkled. It still touches. I feel like when I put my weight, my foot almost slides forward a little bit.
yeah, and you just have
It's just
a lot of volume.
It's just way too much volume through the rest of it. Yeah. No, I mean, all the way through the vamp, and I can even feel it back here. Like, I mean, look, I can, you know.
So like I said, the Louvre is going to be a tough one for the wider form.
Yeah.
Especially just because it's hitting that area.
Right.
But we can try the city last two.
Okay.
The city's one, like I said, the two that I think are the widest fitting ones are the ones we started with. So that 358 and then the 312.
Yes.
But we'll check out the.
This was the 312.
Yes.
That fit, the 312 fit the best.
This is a good fit. So this is the Louvre. We'll check out the city also. We could do it for the William. Oh, that's really nice. I was gonna say that this is our museum Oxblood. So you can kind of see it's a darker burgundy, but there's some of that museum finish, like with the marbling on it.
Yes.
Instead
Can you see the marbling in that? How beautiful that is.
And it's pretty
It's subtle.
It is subtle, yeah.
I don't think it's going to look as beautiful on video as in person, because in person you really notice subtle color changes. You know, your eyes, really sensitive.
Yeah, but I was saying that ours is pretty low key. There's really two big Italian tanneries that do this museum leather that I know of, and ours is called Dolcea, and Dolcea is kind of known for having that more subtle finishing on it. Versus the other one that people hear of is called Zonta, and Zonta has it's
Right.
a lot brighter. It's kind of more attention grabbing.
Right.
And so you're gonna find people that really like both. We just like the more subtle kind of use.
Which to me makes a lot of sense on a cap-toe Oxford, because the style of the shoe by design is more subtle.
Maybe more conservative.
More
subtle.
conservative.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, it's kind of
I love the way the heel fits so tight. That looks, to me, more appealing on an Oxford, than having the welt around the back.
Yeah, but we'll try this one out. Like I said, this is one in the showroom. We do have a few pairs that are designated for fitting. So we can tell people you can really be flexible. You can really see what it's going to feel like, and you don't have to worry about it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. And this is the City Last?
Yeah.
Okay. And what style is this called?
This is called the Richard. And the Richard is our capital Oxford.
Do you have the same thing with broguing? Any, like quarter brogue?
Yeah, we do have the William that we can try also.
Okay. I prefer broguing. I think I've got 4 pairs of cap-toe Oxford.
You're going to love this shoe.
Ooh.
City Last, right?
I think this is 12 and a half in the City Last.
Yeah.
I think we need to win.
Yeah. Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, I can wiggle. I can, even without putting weight, though, I can wiggle my little toe. It's not up against
There you go.
Yeah.
I mean, this is my favorite last, I think. I love all our lasts.
Yeah, this works. Yeah.
That's beautiful on you too, that burgundy.
Oh, I love this color. Yeah.
That's incredible.
I have a pair of.
I'm biased because I also wear.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
you're twins.
I have a pair of McAllisters that I got in Oxblood, and they were a little lighter, lighter than your parents, and they did a couple videos on it. And I re-dyed them darker because I just wanted it dark.
Yeah.
I wanted this. This to me is like the Allen Edmonds Merlot color, maybe even a little darker, a little browner. But I think it's the most versatile color. This color with anything dark blue or like this is a dark gray suit with some purple in the pinstriping. Oh, I just think it's beautiful. This would work. And this is 12 and a half?
Yeah, correct.
And we'll try it in the quarter brogue too. So
Okay. Let's put some holes in this shoe then. Have you guys heard of Marie Kondo, is it? Japanese lady does professional organizing.
Yeah.
Okay. She said something brilliant. She said, does it bring you joy? Now she's referring to, do I throw away this thing in my house? I figured out with the clothes, you buy stuff because if you're spending a decent amount of money on something, don't spend money on it. Get it just because it's on sale, just because it's logical, because I keep wearing shoes that bring me joy. And that's, if you're a more logical person, sometimes you can overthink things.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's part of what, like I'm debating in my head, do I want something with a rubber sole? But if I can get a fiddlebaqck, that's gonna bring me joy. I have nothing with a fiddleback waist on it. And this is again a 12 and a half?
Yeah.
City Last, yeah. And it fits just like the other one does. It's got room. I will say this, it's not as comfortable as the 65 Last, but I couldn't tell you right now that this would be a 10,000 step shoe, but this works. I can just barely right there touching.
And that's a really soft leather. The break-in on that is very nice. It's a really soft, full-grain calf leather, especially on this pair.
Wow, look at that. I'm looking at myself in the mirror here. Yeah, this would definitely work.
yeah, I like that.
Okay.
People think I'm faking when I say, oh, I love the way it looks, but I'm a fan.
I believe it every time. Yeah, I believe it every time I say
My 2 favorite colors in shoes, what do you call this color, by the way?
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah, like people say walnut. I mean, we just call it a cognac calf.
Cognac? Okay, so cognac, similar to, here's compared to Allen Edmonds walnut.
This is the walnut, yes.
I darkened the toes on these, but the rest of it is factory. Yeah, but I like this color range, and my other second favorite one is this would be my second favorite, first favorite, and then maybe they vie for 1 and 2 is Burgundy Oxblood. Okay.
No, it's like a softer leather, lighter color,
This
but
is
easy to wear
Yeah.
a lot. I mean, with this suit, it looks awesome.
Do we have any other colors in that last model?
I can take a look. We might have some for the city. I think for this model with the broguing, this might be the only one we have here. We do another one in a museum brown, so it's like the dark brown.
Yes.
But it wouldn't be something we would keep here.
So I think I've got it narrowed down to City Last in 12.5 and 358 in 12.5. Although I didn't put on the 358 and 12.5, I'm 98% sure that would fit like that.
I feel really good with that one too, yeah.
Okay.
So the 358 at the 12.5, I think you even have a little more room through here. And the 358 is a touch shorter also. So
Okay.
it wouldn't look as elongated if you want to try to.
Right, yeah, pull it in. Okay.
We got a little Greek O kind of looking thing on the
Is
top.
there? Oh, there is. Okay, so the only place you guys' logo actually shows up.
I kind of like that. It's
If you can see that,
It's
it's
newer.
hard to show. It's on the bottom of the tongue. Can you see that? He's called it the Greek O with the underline. Yeah, but it's actually not. But you can tell the quilting. I think nobody else does that, but it's not on the arch anyway.
yeah, no,
So one of the things we just said, 358 versus City. Okay, one thing to be aware of, the City Last has the fiddleback waist, where the 358 does not. I like the fiddleback waist for sure. Okay. All right. Okay. Hey, if you want to come in close, once again, let me put them on the same side. City Last 358. I think for me the 358 is a better fit. I already talked about fiddleback versus not having a fiddleback. It's slightly narrower too, right? It's slightly narrow. Here's something else. Is this called beveled waist? But you see here, the sole thickness is the same all the way through. Not only is it undercut more, but you see it's
I believe that is called a beveled.
beveled waist. Just you see that? That's another feature. To layperson, maybe like so what, but that's another feature of a high-end shoe. I mean that. Yeah. Following your joy. This fires me up. So I think for this, I'm gonna go with the one in the City Last because I like that.
Yeah.
Very cool whole cut. That's the Miguel, right? The whole cut.
Yeah, we have that in like 6 or 7 different leathers.
Is this what you call the mustard color?
Yes, that's our mustard calf leather.
Any of my Florsheim, a vintage Florsheim, another long lost shoe group enthusiasts, they would call this Golden Harvest. They'd love that. Yeah.
Cool.
I think it was prettiest on that full.
Yes.
Yeah, we also have the mustard calf and the whole side.
Driving shoes, I think they call these, right? Yeah. This is a really cool shoe for, you're going out and you have a pair of shorts on or something and a collar shirt in the summertime.
Yeah, and we just released those like spring colors that I think kind of toss center.
Look at that. Nice. Dress sneaker, I guess you're calling it? Look at that green though. You can see the leather pattern. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's still like a full grain leather on this one too. So they take the polish as well, but the sneakers you can just wear out.
Nice. Very nice. So, awesome. So we have the two, basically now that I've decided 12.5 on the City Last to get the fiddleback waist, I've got two color choices.
Yeah, for the
Is that these two?
well for the William, we put it in the cognac calf, and then the museum brown leather,
Museum
which
brown.
would be
This
this
one?
leather. Yeah, this is not Adelaide, but it'd be this leather
Okay.
for this one too.
Okay.
So these are kind of the two we have. We have this one right now. This one we'd be getting, I think, end of September. So we're putting in production right now.
Okay. September. I think this would bring me the greatest joy, though. I have nothing in museum. That's really okay.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Okay. I think the decision is clear. I think it's going to be the William
On
Which-
City West?
on the City West. Is this the William?
Yeah, it's the William.
So this shoe with those features in that color.
Beautiful choice. It's nice. The museum leather, I love the museum.
Okay.
right, so this is the Winston UR on the 312 last.
And there's the label if you want to catch that.
This is our Adelaide Museum Cognac at the 888 last. Our Alex UR on the 312 last. The Francis Museum Cognac on the Louvre last. The Richard Museum Oxblood on the City last. And the William Cognac Calf also on the City last.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Cha-ching.
So this is the shoe I've chosen. This is the exact shoe other than the size. Number one, this is a fitting pair, so you can see it's been creased. Number two, it's a size 13. So this is the William.
Yeah.
On the City last. And it does have beveled waist, fiddleback, narrowed waist with the closed channel stitching. In museum brown. It's not very obvious. It's a little bit subtle. I'm sure that varies based on the shoes as well, right?
Yeah, there's always variants on the marbling from museum leathers.
Awesome. Now the major downside is it's going to take a little while for this to come in, correct?
It's going to the factory, yeah. So we're going to be producing it. It'll probably be close to into September when we have it ready.
End of September. Okay, so this video is being shot in late June, early July. I think it's June 30th right now today.
Yeah.
All right, so I will do an unboxing for you guys when I get them in.
All right, sounds good.
Okay. All right, I want to thank you, Liam, so much. Peter, thank you so much. I know we've been putting this together here for a few weeks. And please say hi to Mr. Daniel Gonzalez for me. And I'm so excited. I'm just like, now it's like a kid, where you know what you're getting for Christmas, but you have to wait, for 2 months to get it. So, again, thank you so much once again. I'll put a bunch of links, as I always do, in the description below if you want to see the other video from your guys' website, as well as other relevant videos, okay? God bless you guys. Thank you so much for watching.
Yeah, thank you.
So that concludes my Cobbler Union visit video. Thank you so much for tagging along. Now, in summary, if you have a wide foot and or a wide forefoot, you're going to, number one, probably want to go for the 358 last. The major downside to the 358 last is that it does not have the narrowed fiddleback waist. Number two would be the 312 last, such as you saw in the long wing Blucher. The shoe is called the Alex, okay, or Alex UR. That one is only available, though, in some of their more casual style shoes. So you're not going to get the 312 last. You're not going to get an Oxford with the 312 last. Third choice is going to be the City last. The City last does not have quite as much room as the 312 or the 358, but it was able to work for me. Obviously, I'm not going to know 100% for sure until I get the shoes. So the shoes aren't coming in. It is now, as I am releasing this video here, July of 2022. The shoes won't be in until they said late September of 2022. So I'll be posting that video late September, early October timeframe. There's so many shoe companies available today, it's almost bewildering. But what I really like about them is they're made in Spain. At the price point they're offering, $395 being their full retail price. But I've seen $50 off is very common. I've seen $100 off is not totally uncommon. Anniversary sales even go down lower than that. So get on their email list, give them a call, do a virtual fitting. And I think what you're getting with a narrowed fiddleback waist on a shoe at that price point is unbelievable. So I'm looking forward to having a longer relationship with these guys. Also, to try and get things to be a little more consistent, I'm going to try to release all of my videos to YouTube on a Friday at 5 p.m. So Friday, 5 p.m. I try to do a couple a month. It could be sometimes more. So that being said, thank you so much for tagging along, guys.